Oh, that's a nice rig. Oh, I like that one too. Oh, hi, thank you, Firefighter Chris. Welcome, boys and girls, to a tour of the inner pages of the ERG. Let's explore the potential of these sections, the yellow or blue, and the orange section. The most important part is the orange section, the action guide pages. So let's discuss how we get to the right one. The first step starts with the information we have available. As Firefighter Chris noted, in the front white section, some pages reference a guide page number, a black dot with a white number. If you only know a little bit of information about the incident, you can at least get started. But if you know more information, we can get to a more specific guide page.
Sir, here's your safety data sheet.
Great, thank you. This gives me some excellent information.
You're welcome.
So the yellow and blue sections are a good starting point if you know the chemical either by name or UN identification number. You can get this information from the shipping papers, placards, the safety data sheets, or any other labels and written resources. Be careful to stay out of any hazardous materials that may have spilled out of the container. We need to protect ourselves so we can help others. Now, one improvement for the 2020 edition is the placement of explosives in the front of each of the blue section and the yellow section, because the explosives are determined more by less by the chemical and more by the explosive potential. They're categorized by their division within the hazard class 1, and chemical warfare agents are not assigned a UN number because they're not allowed to be transported, at least not commercially. But you can still look them up by their associated abbreviation in the front of the yellow pages and alphabetically in the blue pages. If you have access to the UN number, the 4-digit number used in transport, then make your way to the yellow section. This section is organized numerically. If you know the name of the chemical involved, head to the blue section. This section is organized alphabetically. Both the yellow and the blue sections will guide you to the same guide page for the same chemical in this third column here. Make sure you have the spelling correctly, because some chemicals may look the same, but they behave very differently with different guide pages. Now, once you locate the chemical in the yellow or the blue section under the guide number column, look for the correct guide number right here. This is a good start, but here are a couple notes. First, you might see the letter P after the guide page number. This means the product might polymerize. It could explode if not taken care of. These containers should rise to the top of the list of problems to solve because of the potential instability of these chemicals. Once a polymerization reaction starts, it's difficult, if not impossible, to stop. Now, there's no different guide page to reference with these chemicals. Just monitor the container for damage, leakage, a reaction with other chemicals, or the air, and adjust your action plan accordingly. You can also contact the shipper or manufacturer to better understand how much inhibitor was shipped with the product or how long it may remain stable. Now, if an entry is highlighted in green, like many here, you have to ask yourself one more question before going on to the next step. Is this on fire? If your hazmat problem is on fire, go to the corresponding guide page for your initial actions. If your hazmat problem is not on fire, the highlighted material indicates a toxic inhalation hazard, and you should refer to the green section. Dr. Knoll will help you navigate this section on another trip. Now, once you've identified the correct guide page, and that orange section is the right place to start. Let's begin. Our action plan. First, verify the title of the guide page and how it should correspond with the chemical that your incident is dealing with. Then determine the potential hazards. This section, it'll either tell you fire or explosion or health. One of those two is the most hazardous to the first responders and the public. Next, refer to the public safety section. Public safety will give you a distance to keep people away until the hazards are properly mitigated. Determine the appropriate PPE for responders. Now, most responders have structural firefighting gear and SCBA as options. Know that while structural firefighting gear might offer only limited protection, a little protection might be all that is necessary to make a life-saving difference. But be aware of the hazards before rushing in. Then the evacuation areas come into play. For most incidents, there's a simple rule of distances to keep everyone out. For solids, stay back 25 meters or 75 feet. For liquids, double that distance and stay back 50 meters or 150 feet. And for gases, double the distance again and stay back 100 meters or 330 feet. After following immediate precautionary measure distance, follow the instructions for spills and fire accordingly. Where you see a Canadian flag, consult the shipping papers for an emergency response action plan if needed. Now let's get to the emergency response section. Follow the instructions for firefighting of small fires, large fires, and fires involving tanks. Now be mindful any notes of caution applying the incorrect firefighting medium could have catastrophic effects. Determine how to handle the container and/or spilled material, and remember to use caution when moving containers, as broken containers might not hold together when they get picked up or moved. Now, protecting the environment is a strong consideration. It's helpful to understand how the chemical behaves to help us in our environmental protection endeavor. Solids and liquids that mix into water could cause a new problem. Gases will either go up or down and could bring their own problems to our efforts. And if there are victims, the first aid section directs us to the appropriate methods to reduce the effects to protect the caregivers and begin recovery. Further advice, refer to the resources in the back of the book as indicated. Remember, back in the beginning, when I was explaining the entries highlighted in green, those are the toxic chemicals that pose a toxic inhalation hazard that requires a more cautionary response. Luckily, we have Dr. Knoll to explain that section to us. Thank you for exploring the inner pages of the ERG with me. It's been a fun trip, and I look forward to hearing all of your successes on your next hazmat emergency. Dr. Knoll?